Hello friends, welcome to Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader. The Last Scion, episode 10, Blind in Darkness. As I mentioned to the cast and crew, the episode titles so far have been relatively descriptive. So Blind in Darkness makes me think that some real shit's going down today. Now, according to my intro schedule here, I am supposed to talk about anime, say some dumb stuff, set up a joke, punchline, Sid Alpha. Okay, so I feel like I can just safely skip that and move directly into introductions without any problems.
I am a walking punchline as it is, so.
I did have not laughing at your joke in my schedule, by the way.
Yeah,
Look,
I sent the script out before the episode. I'm glad that we're all... Listen, sometimes you guys don't read those things, and it makes me really sad.
I've got it up in Notepad Plus right. It says not laughing at joke. No. line 13.
Notepad Plus is the punchline of this show.
Notepad Plus is the punchline?
Oh my god.
Look, man, I love me some Notepad Plus. What's your problem?
Garth falls in love with a null would be a amazing episode. He wants what he can't have.
So that's actually a thing that's a...
Nope. I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
I'm saying it's a theme that's happened before.
Skip.
No, it's relax. It's just that Psyker and then blank, it's caught with like Psykers being near them are just in pain, so it would never work out.
All I hear is careless whisper.
I like the fact that Pathfinder said Garth's first encounter with a null, and you turn that into falling in love with.
Of course.
You wonder why your games become dating sims.
No, I don't. Yeah. I don't wonder why. I don't wonder why. I know why. It's because I force it to.
I'm confused where the dating sim of Time of Wars happened, because it hasn't happened.
Oh, it's happened. It happens all the time.
Okay. With like NPCs, yeah, but themselves.
Oh, Bandito, you're at the center. Listen, what about Rapier when he was used by the vile witch Ronan when she deceived our good man? That was a PC NPC romance. That's what I have to say.
Was it Crimson that used to put all the shit on Bandito? Is
yeah,
that right?
No.
Okay.
Pondo is in total denial that was a relationship. He's the only person in the universe.
It was a classic love-hate. He just didn't get as far as the love.
All right, I was going to start with intros. Now we're going to move to some... Atomic, what do you got?
I get this stupid thing off Tuesday, hopefully, and we'll see. And then just kind of just been hanging out. I was working on joining a Pathfinder game, but kind of fell through, which is unfortunate. But...
First edition, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, first edition. Obviously, I don't.
What is it about second edition that everybody hates?
Second edition has some of the same. I haven't played it, but talking to people who have, second edition does some of the same shit that D&D fourth edition did, which is hilarious because that's the reason why Pathfinder became so fucking popular, is because people wanted nothing to do with wizards after the travesty that was fourth. But it just makes the game like super simple, or more simple, which is what people, it's not why people play.
I thought it made it
Pathfinder
more complicated. All of a sudden it was like you could take X amount of attacks, and you got like 5 actions at any time, and you can move or double move or quadruple move.
You had 3 actions that you could do in the entire thing, and movement count is 1, attacks counted as 1. But if you tried to take multiple attacks in a turn, it was consecutive as the -5 each.
Right. Yeah, I was being hyperbolic to make a point, but yes, they took action economy and were like, what if we just rewrote it entirely?
Pretty much.
Make it confusing.
I don't know. I personally do not know anybody that is a regular first edition player that has switched to second. It's most people have played it once or twice, were like, fuck this, and they went back to first. So I was like, if I'm just not even going to mess with it. I've tried to read through the rule book, and I was just like, I was just getting annoyed just reading the rule book, and I was like, nah, I'm good. I'll stick with first. So, but yeah, it was a Skulls and Shackles game, which is like the pirate. It's one of the pirate adventure
I remember
things, which is
Skulls and
really
Shackles.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
Skulls and Shackles too, Sid. That's where we met.
but it was gonna start with Skulls and Shackles and like kind of so at some point in that kind of transfer into like his own thing. He was like combining it, mostly just because there were a couple of players who were newer to Pathfinder or whatever, but that game it just fell through. So
I don't know, man. Let me tell you something about Skulls and Shackles. I've been doing this for a long time. Before I started streaming, I'd been running Pathfinder for like 7 years. And Skulls and Shackles was literally the most fucking hardcore shit I've ever seen. When the dude cut his own eyes out in order to save the party, and then ended up becoming a blind oracle so that he could see without sight and go barbarian, rage, oracle. This shit was insane. Then he was running across water faster than the ship was sailing. Oh my god, what was his name again? Not the player, I cannot remember, but
I cannot remember the name.
yeah,
of the
he was a fucking mad lad. Every single time I was like, all right, the only possible way you could survive this situation would be to roll a natural 20. And he's like, you mean that natural 20 right there that I just rolled?
That I already rolled while you're still talking?
He did it 7 times. It was infuriating. He couldn't roll a 19.
Every time.
Couldn't roll a 2. Every single time I was like, a natural 20 is the only thing that can save you.
Every time without fail. He did it.
Yeah. All right. Where were we? Atomic. We were doing your intro.
Yeah, I mean, nothing else has really happened since then. I mean, it's just kind of just what I can do is fairly limited, only having real good use of like one hand and 2 fingers, which the thing about not having 2 hands that really pisses me off is when I'm typing stuff, like obviously my speed is horrible, but my rate of typos has gone up. I spend more time backspacing and correcting or right clicking and then spell correcting than I do actually making progress, and it's fucking driving me crazy. So I can't wait to get this stupid thing off my hand. And then I've been working on some model stuff as I can. At least I can still build stuff because I only need 1 hand really. So that's pretty much it. That's all I've been up to, really.
You got Sid.
I've got not much. I did manage to get the lawnmower started yesterday after hours of fighting the damn thing.
Was it the carburetor?
Nice.
It's always the carburetor.
No, it was actually bad gas. Just old gas. It's in there fighting it, and I was like, fuck
Me too.
it,
I have
I'll
that bad gas problem sometimes.
Finally go into town, get some heat to pour in there, and then it fired right up.
Yeah, that's the problem with new gas. Like I say new gas, modern gas. Like old gas, fine. Modern gas, it will just fuck everything up.
Down.
I know dudes that have boats and stuff, and they have to drain all the fuel out of everything before they put them up for like the winter or whatever else, because it'll just fuck up the whole fuel system. And I'm just like, it's a nightmare.
But you know, I changed out the oil in it. I made sure the spark plug was cleaned, put some heat in the gas, and then I realized I've got not 1 but 2 bad tires in that thing that I have to air up every time I need to use it now. So now I have to buy new tires for it. And I was looking them up online, and those things apparently are not fucking cheap for some reason. One of those little tires costs as much as a car tire.
So I know, I mean, granted, you live in the Northwest, so it's not quite the same here. I mean, whatever, but like here in the South, they'll just be like rednecks that own places, or it's like lawnmower repair, and they have $1 million, and you could probably just be like, I need this size tire, and it'll be like $10. And it's like got like 95% of the tread, or what? It's still good. It's still perfectly fine.
And we don't actually have any places like that around here.
Yeah, I figured you might not.
So my choice is either I buy just the tires themselves and put them onto the existing rims, which is a gigantic pain in the ass, or I spend $50 more and buy the whole thing on the rim already. I'm like, I'll just buy a new fucking rim.
That's what happened to my grandfather.
Deal with it.
We had to replace all 4 tires on a riding lawnmower. It was going to be cheaper just to. He's like, I can just replace all 4 tires on this really, really old one that's like 30 years old, or I spend an extra $200 and just get a brand new riding lawnmower.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's like the printer problem. Just buy a new printer.
Yeah, just buy a new printer.
Yeah, it's the same shit.
But you're looking at. I'm looking at about $350 worth of tires for it, because they're cracked. there's cracking on the rubber, so I can't just patch them. But it's it's like a $2,000 mower, so it's still.
Oh well, yeah, no, that's a bit different.
And I was able to go through the field that was my lawn. The grass was almost as tall as I am. It's what happens when it rains every day for like a month.
Oh yeah, I live in Florida. I know how that goes. You know, mow our yard like every Saturday.
I think I have you slightly beat here, Sid, because someone damaged some of the panels on my car.
Oh, lovely.
Infuriating.
A new car?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my
The
new
brand
car.
new one?
Car proud. Yep.
Wow.
Oh,
Absolutely,
are they
unbelievably infuriating. Yeah.
they still among the land of the living?
I don't know who it was, so yes.
Son of a bitch.
Not that I'm implying that if I knew who it was, I would kill them,
Like,
because I would sue them.
I
mean,
know your pain. Like when that deer actually rammed into the side of my car after I managed to stop.
Ooh, deer are
it
so dumb.
It did over $2,000 worth of damages to the car,
yeah.
which thankfully, I had really good insurance on it, so I just had like a $500 or $1,000 deductible, and they replaced it with all factory new parts and shit.
when I lived in Georgia, I was this is when I was probably first, second grade, whatever, and we were going somewhere up in Northeast Georgia, and I was asleep in my dad's work truck. I was asleep against the door, and this is like a big like Dodge Ram, whatever company truck. This buck comes out. We hit it. Its horns go into the headlight. The body whips around and hits the door so hard that it knocks me off the door and dislodged the door panel on the inside. And did so much damage that it was just, they just ended up like, they took the truck bed and like the camper and all that shit off, but then they just replaced the rest of the truck. It was cheaper because it did so much body, because it hit and then it like whipped it back around and like did damage all along the side. And it was, what the fuck, man? Deer just, and it was like noon. It wasn't even like night. I can't even. So
Yeah,
you're paying.
It was actually, you should have seen the look on the insurance adjuster's face, because they, when I said the deer hit my car, they're like, yeah, okay. And then they looked at it and like, oh, you weren't kidding. The deer actually did ram your car.
And then like 2 months after that incident, we used to have this super old like Nissan Sentra, like super old, and we're driving down the road at night in Athens, Georgia, as you do when you live there, and then a deer jumped over, and because the Sentra was so low and this deer was so tall, we hit it, and it did the thing of where we hit it and then it like rotated up over the, like broke the windshield, like fucked up the front of the car, fucked up the hood, destroyed the front windshield, went up over it, and just like pinwheeled off the top of the car. And then literally 45 seconds later, a cop pulls up behind us because it did so much damage at the front of the car that it dislodged the battery, and so all of our taillights were out. And so we got pulled over by cops because we didn't have taillights. And it's like, well, if you want to go about a quarter mile back that way, you're going to see some fresh roadkill. So we had to get a police escort back to our house because we had no lights, and that was fun. So that's my Georgia experience of we wrecked, we lost, well, granted, one was a company vehicle, but we lost 2 personal vehicles to deer, got rode off just because of the damage from deer. So, and that was within 4 or 5 years. So.
Well, you got anything else? Good. Whenever he gets like this, I just never know what to do. When
I'm
he's
actually
like,
feeling pretty good because I got my air conditioner set up.
ooh, yeah,
It's
that's the
actually
good
hot.
stuff. I gotta tell you, it was fucking incredibly hot here last night, and I finally just killed the dehumidifier.
It did. I say it felt incredibly hot here, but I say incredibly hot based on like if Radisaurus were here, he'd be like, well, that's
Yeah, well,
that's sweater weather.
Listen, the thing is, when you live in a hot enough environment for long enough, you adjust to that temperature. Same thing for cold.
That's
Yeah,
true.
It's about variation from your norm.
Heat is easy to adjust to.
Brad
but
is out there. He's like, humidity. 90. I might need to wear shorts
Humidity
today.
is rough.
Humidity, you never adjust. I've lived in the South my entire life. You never adjust the humidity. It just sucks regardless.
Can't confirm. It just sucks.
Yeah, like I could live in Arizona. I would acclimate to the heat because it's dry heat. But if it was that way and like 95% humidity, where it's just like I have to swim to my mailbox and then you just I want to think about going outside and you get swamp ass. It's just like nah, I'm good.
Yeah,
Fuck going outside.
A high humidity, high heat is the worst. It just sucks the energy right out of you.
It's just it just makes you miserable. Your clothes stick to you, and it's just like, oh no, I'm good. I'm good.
Speaking of things that just suck, let's talk to Pondo. I waited
Fucking
so long for that one. I waited. It's been a while since I've done one of those, but that opportunity was premium, okay? When a shot like that comes along, you just have to take it. Pondo, what do you got?
I mean, you miss
Mediocre at best, I could say.
All right. It's too bad you don't have your soundboard with you in order to crickets me.
No, I don't. You chose the right week to do that.
Perfect.
Yeah, no, I'm currently in Lincoln, which is about 3 hours where I typically live.
You mean Lincoln, Nebraska?
Yes, Lincoln, Nebraska is actually the state's capital.
Yes, I knew that.
Saying that for the people who didn't know that.
I did not know that.
look. I forget. There are times I forget Nebraska even exists.
I
so
paid
it's fine.
attention in school,
That'd be
but
tough.
I'm old, and school was a long time ago.
Like I could
never
point it out
paid
on a
attention
map.
to other
but-
states. Yeah, currently in Nebraska, the capital where Cotton had to go get her dress fitted, size to get hemmed and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I took the opportunity to stop by a nice little game store around here and get some more paint.
How's that salt marsh treating you?
Salt marsh?
Yeah, Nebraska's literally goddamn swamp.
I think Arthur's Googling right now.
No, I've been to all 50 of the 50 goddamn states, and I've been to most of the state capitals, and I know which ones are built on a goddamn marsh. And you want to talk about Washington, D.C., which isn't built on a marsh, it actually still is a marsh.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's one of those things people don't. It's like it used to have a massive malaria problem.
Oof.
Yeah. No, it was literally built. It was just built. It's in a marsh.
Did you find anything good at the game shop?
Yeah,
He decided to get into building Gundam kits. He's a Gumpla now.
Scufflip.
no, yeah, I just got some certain like Games Works Citadel paints and stuff, and then because that's mostly just what they had.
Remind me
And-
later, Pondo. I'll send you a thing. It shows essentially what, like, here's the GW color, and then it's a chart. It's like this is the equivalent color in like every major paint brand. It'll make your life a lot easier in trying to find shit.
Yeah, I'm mostly just at the point where I'm collecting paint colors to use later. And yeah, that's where I am currently at it. I thought about getting a strike squad for the Grey Knights, but I was like, no, I need to finish stuff I have now.
Yeah.
Which
How long do you
is
think
like-
it'll take him, James?
Week.
How long do you think, James, before he gets his pile of shame? What's your guess?
Well,
What's
look,
your
I mean,
over-under?
he's already at the point of buying things as he might need it in the future, so he's well on the path.
Yeah,
to
but
becoming
paint is one
a
thing. But I
collector.
mean, and you have a pile of shame. I have a pile of shame. I have 2 piles of shame, actually. I knocked one over earlier. But how long do you think it'll take him?
Did you just call me weak for not buying it? Is that
Yes,
That's right.
if you-
Yeah.
To truly
Okay.
embrace the hobby, you
Go
have
all-
to buy
yeah.
things that will not be put together for, like, you put together a couple models, you get busy doing something else, you tell yourself for weeks that I need to get back to doing the thing, you finally do, you assemble them, then they sit on a shelf, and then you go do something else, and then you come back and you paint them who knows how much time later. That is the correct process that's been finally honed over 30 plus years of this hobby.
Yeah. Go hard or go home. I can't park my car in my garage right now because my pile of shame takes up the space the car normally sits in.
that's
I
pretty
have
bad?
I have some pictures to show you, James. There was a guy I bought a bunch of tank models from. Like it was an older guy that he got to where his hands didn't work that much, like very well, but he would go and hang out at his local hobby shop. And because he was spending all his time there, he felt obliged to support them and buy stuff from them. So when he passed away, his daughter found out that he was a hoarder of model kits. Literally, I think they had something like over 2,700 unbuilt model kits. And I have pictures of it because I bought some of this stuff from, they were selling stuff off.
Oh,
And
crap.
yeah, like, I mean, she was just selling them wholesale.
Why?
he just because that's what he did as a hobby, and then he hung out with his friends, and he still, I don't know if she wasn't sure if it was, he just liked to, because all of them were open, he would open them, look at them, whatever. So that's just what he did for the better part of, she said, all through his military career and everything, he always put them together. And then he got to where his hands, he couldn't do it anymore. He had very little mobility in his hands. So she doesn't know if he kept buying them just because he enjoyed looking at them, or if there was just whatever.
No,
But
I feel it. As someone who collects internet images, I know it's just a drive that you have. You just collect things that you'll never ever use again, except that one time where you're like, "Are we talking about tax evasion?" I'm pretty sure I have a meme for that.
But they were gonna. She didn't know what to do. She came onto the model maker subreddit and literally asked, like, whatever. And so they had a guy. Luckily, she found a guy that was one of the mods on the subreddit who was relatively close. He drove up, and they're able to kind of give a rough value and stuff. And then she like sold these. I know I bought like $600 worth of models for like $200 because she was like, my father would have rather me sell them to his people so they would be built and used than just wholesaling them to like a big box store or whatever. And it was just, I got to find these pictures, but it will blow your mind the amount of fucking model kits that this guy had sitting in his house. Like
I spent
like an organized hoarder. They were like, here's the American tanks, here's the Russian ones, here's whatever. They were organized, they were nice and neat, but Jesus Christ, were there a lot of them.
I spend a lot of time now lurking on secondhand Warhammer model forums, and you can always tell the posts where somebody has, they're either having a kid or they're buying a house or something has changed in their situation financially. And they've got to sell their whole army. And I'm just looking at this picture of this beautifully painted army and imagine this person with soulless eyes behind the camera, like being forced to give up on their hobby because of something as inane as a child. It's crushing.
Inane. Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of
that
like,
something a father should be saying? Listen, that sounds like something I would say, sir.
Yeah, but I mean, James is super qualified to say that. I mean, I guess. I mean, what's the scores for the Royal Rumble, by the way? Like, how the fight's been going? Who's been winning?
With what? So with
Your kids.
Kids are never going to defeat an adult. Home Alone is a fantasy.
No, I mean his kids will get into like a Royal Rumble in the background, and he'll be like, you have to go break it up. So I was just wondering.
The scores. They're outside. I can see like past my computer screen, my window, and I can see them out there running around the garden right now. But
so that'll be someone else's problem.
Yes, right. Yeah, my wife doesn't go to work for another 2 hours. So
yeah.
Okay, I got a cat. I've got two of my kids are currently wearing bike helmets and carrying cricket bats, so they're obviously in. And they're hitting each other with the cricket bats. Okay, so
okay, yep. I've done it before. I did jousting as a kid. I almost broke a leg doing jousting as a kid on bicycles. Man, I was stupid. Anyway, was and am, continue to be, I guess. Fair enough.
Okay. Hondo, we were in your intro. What do you got?
I've got nothing else really. I got that, and I'm enjoying my 4-day weekend that I got.
That is nice. James,
It's very rare for me.
the man they call James.
I have a 3-day weekend. I've taken Monday off to prolong my weekend somewhat. And literally, as we were in the sort of pre-show thing, I managed to get a podcast uploaded finally.
Ooh,
nice.
Which episode is that?
110. I recorded it during the week, and then the editor got it back to me yesterday, and I was going to upload it yesterday, but then my wife said, let's take the kids to the park so they can ride their bikes, and the kids wanted to go to a specific park where in the past I've taken my remote-controlled tanks to run around the park. It's got lots of sort of little hills and things I can run them through, so I decided I'm going to charge one of my tanks and take it out there, and I did. And it broke down while I was there, and I spent the rest of the evening trying to fix the goddamn tank. So it didn't get my podcast uploaded. But
I know how that is.
Yeah.
I don't know, James. It feels like your goddamn life goals at this point. I want to grow up to be just like you.
No, here's the key. Here's the key. James won the lottery on his wife because she sounds great for putting up with his bull. That's what it sounds like. That sounds like the key to his success right there.
I mean, my evening last night was my wife sitting on her laptop playing Civilization with me on the other side of the table swearing at my tank while trying to work out why I wasn't working.
Dude,
So-
yeah, no, like AP said, fucking goals, man. Fucking goals right there.
But other than that, really, not a lot this week. I bought Saints Row 3 Remastered for some reason.
I thought about it.
And-
I thought about
That's
it.
not the one I would have chose to remaster out of all of them.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's-
Yeah.
It's a bit disappointing. I got to say, mainly because like the remaster is so minor and the performance quality on the PC is so poor. Everybody's got issues with screen tearing and cutscenes. It seems even with VSync turned on. So they've definitely got some technical dramas going on there.
Well, that does make me glad to hear that I didn't try to buy it that they didn't do it with the second one because that would have been the one I would have remastered. not the-
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
The second was my favorite for sure. But
Third was like a weird left field that they went down on.
Well, yeah, that's really when they cemented the we're not GTA, we're a silly GTA-like game, which was fine. It's just
I would have thought it
actually
was
like
when
they
you were
went-
beating people to death with giant dildos, but yeah, sure.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's yeah, but it's just they really went in on the silly
Sure,
factor
they-
versus.
I'm no Saints Row for me, thanks. I'm good.
yeah, like I mean, Saints Row 2 did have like driving around in a sewage truck shooting sewage at buildings to decrease property values. So they were already starting to go a bit down the path of silliness at that point in time.
They went full plaid in 3 though.
Yeah, that's it. Also had brought zombies in for one. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's been my week really. Just a lot of work. Looking forward to having an extra day off. But then my boss is on leave for the next 2 weeks, so I've got to do his role and my role in the meantime. So that's about it.
That means you're in charge, though, right?
All
You're
right.
the boss.
Do we have anything else we need to discuss before we kick this thing off?
I don't think so.
Okay.
don't
Should note that I did change
think
something about
so.
the overlay. Can you find it?
I'm in a bad position to try to find what's different at the moment.
I'm not looking at the overlay, unfortunately.
It's fine.
Right now.
So you chose a good time to play that game.
Yeah, listen. Everyone says my timing is amazing. And for those that don't follow on Discord, you should know that I wrote a letter to the Lord Captain in character and posted it in the Discord channel, listing our current purchasing priorities. To which Ponda was like, "Well, we don't need that, and we're never gonna get that." So you missed out on that. Don't worry, it's gonna come up in this episode probably almost immediately. James,
Yes, it's
what
going to be
happened?
the same thing.
All right, so previously on Rogue Trade: The Last Scion, we watch as the elated Hymnal comes into the system ready to drop off the new crew of the Hand of Calixis aboard the ship. We see the senior crew standing around a table reviewing all the various goings-on at the colonies in the Cowles line. We watch as Pierre shakes hands with Librarian Viridius as the collected Astartes technologies change hands in the background. Obviously, that wasn't a scene in the game, but that's something that happened. Inquisitor Al Subai berates the senior crew while placing a writ of accusation on the table in front of them. And finally, Garth reveals the former crew's belief that the core contained the essence of some sort of god that sought the citadel beneath the ship to defend itself from its enemies. And the thought for the day is carry the Emperor's will as your torch. With it, destroy the shadows. And unless you wanted to, AP, you said you wanted a scene that comes up straight away, but I think we sort of worked out at the last game that the first scene was going to be going down to see the natives regarding the ritualistic nature of the ship. Everyone happy with that, or does someone else want to do a scene first?
That sounds good.
Sounds good.
So listen, I have all
Um,
sorts of garbage scenes I can introduce wherever is needed.
Always need garbage scenes. I mean, hey, there's a shuttle flight down to the planet. But my question is everybody going? Particularly, I'm looking at you, Sid, given that you know you're going into a colony of people that are all psychic blanks.
Oh God! Are we going there to purge them?
no. Maybe.
No.
Yeah, we'll see.
Depends.
Here's well, mechanical question on that. Means these people are blanks, and they screw with. I can't sense them. Do they have like an aura or some form of collective aura that would impede me from?
Yeah. So there's two things. So go ahead.
That's actually a question. They're not all blanks, but they have the gene in them. Does that mean they still have it? They can still do it?
No. So
No.
And it's not an active thing; it's a passive thing. So if a person is actually a full-on blank, which is like the mutation is activated, then you can't use psychic powers on them at all. And there is a limited aura around the person where all psychic powers are suppressed. So if you're staying next to the person, or probably within about 10 feet, you'll be technically blind and can't use any of your psychic powers. If you're standing outside that radius, you can still see and use your powers, but you just can't use your powers on them. So you couldn't read their mind even from the distance that's outside their aura. But you can still do things like, you could technically drop a boulder on them, that would still kill them.
Do these people have any kind of amplification effect with each other, to where the more there are gathered in one place, the larger of a nullification bubble there is?
That can happen, yes, as far as you know.
Hell no.
There are also there are technologies that do allow, like you know what I'm talking about, James, where like in Eisenhorn and stuff, where they can temporarily suppress that whatever. But
it can be technically suppressed, and it can be technically enhanced. The animus speculum that the assassins use is designed to actually enhance their blank ability.
Yeah, the Calixis
naturally they can't control it. It's just a thing. The other thing about blanks, and it's even people that carry the pariah gene, is that people find that they naturally just don't like them, or they find themselves uncomfortable around them. So that might be a passive thing. So you may not know why you don't like somebody. You just feel this sort of distaste around them. You could recognize that a person might be physically attractive and socially friendly, but you just can't, for some reason, put your finger on the fact that you dislike being in their company. And that affects everybody, not just psychic people.
Yeah, it's like an aura.
And I'm going to go back to my original statement of hell no. I mean, I'll go if so ordered, but of my own volition, not a chance.
I don't think this instance he would force you to go. Would be nice, but he won't force you.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess my question for you, Sid, is when the others go to the surface, is there anything in particular you want to do on board the ship?
Well, it seems that there's a large number of our astropathic choir that have slowly been seeing themselves coming back to the light, and want to make sure that they continue their journey. Okay.
To work on with them. Another question was, you were talking about potentially reaching out and contacting Cassius Schrain after Alcibai's arrival. Was that something you still want to do or have done?
I assumed that I would have sent the message.
Then that's a question for the whole group, and what the message is. Like, are you asking for a meeting? Are you asking for some sort of confirmation of something?
Oh, right.
Yeah. So Schrain was the Autoxenos Inquisitor that you spoke to on Port Wanda with the 2 Death Watch Marines.
Oh, yes. What was I going to ask him? I think it was about the other Inquisitor, wasn't it?
Yeah. So Alcibai claimed that you lied to Schrain.
Gotcha.
That was what was on his writ of accusation.
I think essentially the letter is going to be another Inquisitor came by claiming that I lied to you, claiming something about me, asking the old navigator about Station 13, which has not happened. I think it was actually Nero that asked about it, wasn't it?
Correct.
Yes,
it was.
And Nero didn't ask. Well, Nero asked what he knew, and he said, "Here's the coordinates.
Yep. So
Here's where you can find the coordinates." Which we still don't have because we haven't been there.
Gotcha. Essentially, Pierre did not ask about it. It was Nero, in which...
Sure, throw me under the bus. That's what I'm pointing for.
Well, yes, you did do it. Nero was the one that questioned it, but we will not be investigating that lead at all.
Yeah, do you think it would be a good idea to attempt to reach out to Lady Pendergast as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was wanting you to.
Why
Did
do
you
we
not
keep
do that?
asking people who are trying to kill us to help us?
She's not trying to kill us. She's
She
trying to
tried
test
to
us.
kill us. Sorry, I need to get in character. She
was
tried to kill
attempting-
us.
She was attempting to test us while at the same time attempting to strengthen us to
Sure.
some extent.
I would point out, Lord Valance, that she also, through Miriam, knew about all of this prognostication, precognition nonsense, and knew we would end up on this exact path that we are now on.
Because of
And
the Silver Skulls. Yes.
Yeah. So she already knew that all of this was going to happen. Including
not
the
all.
very thing you're about to contact her about.
Probably not.
Really? Because it's been fairly precise so far.
The Silver Skulls said that they could not see further than us getting to the system. And this is
Yes, but
us in the
this all
system.
happened before we arrived in the system.
No.
Yes,
The
I
Inquisitor
contacted.
came in after we got into the system.
Yes, the Inquisitor came, but the contact that I made happened before then. And he also would have had to leave before we arrived to make it here in the time that he did.
And we don't know if they asked him about this sort of situation or if they knew precisely about this.
Exactly. I would just... I don't like
I'm confused where your caution is.
I don't like Anissa Pendergast. She knew about all of this and she didn't tell us. She tried to kill us at least once.
oh, please, I'm so quite certain if she intended us to be dead, we'd probably be dead.
Yes, but if you try to push someone down the stairs to test their reflexes at catching themselves, and afterwards you go, no problem, bro, just testing your reflexes, that doesn't make it any less homicidal.
This is fair, but
She is so far from everything that we've heard and gathered that she seems to be the type of person where if you were to fail such a test, then you weren't worth her time. Or
If you fail
resources
such a
to
test,
begin
you're
with.
dead, so...
Indeed.
Nero's gonna slam
And
his
we
hands
are
on the
not.
table and just be like, I'll be waiting in the shuttle.
okay.
Storms
Send the
out.
message, Garth.
So-
Essentially,
Paraphrasing, because obviously you can't usually send exact words through Astropath messages. What sort of so the two communications? What are you trying to communicate to Pendergast? What are you trying to communicate to Shrain? What do you want them to?
To Shrain,
know what
will I believe that we are attempting to clarify, to make sure to verify the claims of this Inquisitor, and to find out if Shrain actually feels that we lied to him in some way.
Do you mention the accusation about the quantum communications to your vessel as well?
no.
No.
Okay.
That's a problem for another time. Was part of the accusations that was actually part of the accusations, wasn't it?
It wasn't. It
Accusations.
wasn't on the writ of accusation. No, that was something
Okay,
that
then-
he raised separately.
That's a problem for another time.
Okay.
Just what's been formally on the
Yeah,
writ.
We'll burn that bridge when we come to it. No worries.
Yes.
My thoughts are, if it wasn't on the writ of accusation, then likely he was attempting to use that writ of accusation as leverage to try and fish for additional information.
Okay. And for Pendergast, what's the basic message to her?
Shit.
I'd say essentially try to request some sort of meeting, if possible, when returned to football, and see what she knows about the Inquisitor that we just ran into.
Okay. No worries.
What are your thoughts? What are your impressions? What's his reputation?
When you return to
scale of 1 to
football,
10,
you'll be arrested for your writ of accusations. So your
You
meaning
get no
will be,
response.
in a jail cell.
2 out of 5 stars wouldn't recommend. No, it's okay. Well, Garth can send those, and you can get a response a bit later on. So for the rest of you, Holt organizes. So basically, the information that comes back from the planet's surface is that the natives recognize who is or who isn't a blank. And the blanks themselves don't live among the standard populace. They live in effectively communes or separate areas, effectively. And so what Holt has organised is that Keegan is going to meet you out in the wilderness, basically. So he's giving you coordinates where to land, and Keegan will walk you into one of the main one of the main conclaves of the psychic blanks. And introduce you to one of their senior people, basically. That way you can ask.
And they're the ones that are going into almost ritually into the ship.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So from the glyphs on the wall, you couldn't determine a time frame, just that certain people from within that community, from time to time, go there. There wasn't sort of like every year or every 10 years. It was more like when the right person emerges, the right person goes in. So
interesting. Okay.
I have a quick double follow-up question, James, about the shuttle that we take down. We've never really discussed what it is. Is this an Avis lander? Is this a Aquila shuttle, or is this something? I've always assumed it was very large because it's supposed to be a heavy cargo hauler, and the shuttles that I see when I look at shuttles in the Imperial craft are all like something that have one pilot and are not very big.
Argus sliders are just like kind of like the Star Trek, whatever shuttles. But the the large cargo transports are more or less just engine strapped to a big ass box.
All right. I mean, I just couldn't find any information about it.
Yeah. Have you seen Prometheus?
No. You're talking about the Aliens prequel or whatever?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. All I've seen is a giant rolling thing moving towards people that were running away in a straight line, and I said, why are they running in a straight line?
Yeah, so most surface to space cargo haulers in the setting are effectively just big open platforms with rockets underneath and like a control system as such. So you because most things that they need to bring to the surface could often be dropped in. They have special things that can be effectively dropped on the quality surface. And shit. Yeah, that's right. And so bringing it up is really just a case of speed and gravity. It doesn't need to be aerodynamic. It doesn't need to be streamlined. It just needs to go up.
Okay, so we're in like a small crew compartment attached to a giant floating brick.
Probably what you're in would be an Arva slider to take crew to the surface, because those cargo haulers only have space for about 4 people, like an operator and some cargo hands, whereas the Arva slider can take 2 crew plus about 10 to 15 people in the back as well. So
does it have any guns on it?
Arva sliders do not. By default, they're not armed.
So I'm posting a picture of the Prometheus lift platform in the channel.
Okay. I mean, I think I have a pretty solid idea what this looks like. Yep, that's almost exactly what I thought it would look like.
Yep.
My recollection is that Arva sliders can be armed, correct?
They can, with multi-lasers, autocannons, or heavy stubbers. It's like a prefab modification. You remove this panel, clip in here, but from the factory, they're not supplied with any weaponry.
Okay, I mean, I'm just gonna add that to the list that we need a whole bunch of those.
what you should look at is, if you are looking at having a more combat capable shuttle, because Arva sliders, they fly like the brick they look like.
Yeah.
We need a gun
cutter.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have las cannons, they have heavy bolters.
That doesn't sound like a shuttle, but sure.
Well, they have crew compartments, so you can actually like live in it. So it's like a space Winnebago almost, but much bigger.
Yeah, they're designed so that you can. It's like a gunship, but like you can land it on a planet and then use it as a forward operating base, because you've got some crew compartments, you've got some storage, you can take a limited amount of cargo.
2 twin-linked heavy bolters. That sounds reasonable.
They are regularly used by Inquisitors for ground operations, because you can use it as a mobile base.
I mean, just one of these is going to be capable of solving any crowd control problem with anyone that doesn't have AA.
Yeah.
So
they've got a decent amount of firepower.
And they are in the book, and they are acquirable. They have rarity.
They look like they're in Into the Storm. So I'm going to do that. You tell us what happens.
One of the problems with them, though, is we'd have to have a place to put it, so it'd probably take up a lot of our cargo space. So we do have.
We have 12 shuttle spaces on the ship before we even worry about cargo.
Yeah, your ship is well equipped for carriage.
I didn't realize
how many shuttles do we have?
Great question.
a plot amount of shuttles.
Yeah, that sounds correct as well. Like,
Plot amount of
I don't know that. We need to know that at any
Excellent.
given moment.
The answer, Pondo, is how James is feeling today.
Yeah.
So,
you know,
I should expect randomly 4 shuttles to be broken down or blown up instantly by the time we need like 12 worth.
Well, I mean, it's like anything else, right? Like you have just because you have 12 doesn't mean they're all operational. You got maintenance schedules. You might have to strip parts from one to repair another, blah blah, whatever. So, just like anything, just like planes in modern day. So,
there's always one being painted.
what being painted?
Yes, 'cause that's our worries.
2 in character for Warhammer 40K.
Or like drop pods, for example. They repaint them every time, and then they drop them through orbit and it burns all the paint off, and they repaint them again. It's like, fucking why? Just don't bother.
Because it's what the manual says.
Alright, we
That's
need
what
to
the
take the
Omni
shuttle
side demands.
Yeah.
We cannot take the shuttle out. It's currently not painted. What?
It's the right. We have not put the white stripe on it. It's not. No, just.
All right, so while we're on this shuttle, Nero is looking at like a list of things to do, and one is like have lunch with Riani, another one is continue harassing gun crews, and then he looks up at Pierre and says, "Lord Captain, have you received my missive in regards to equipment purchases?"
Yes, a lot of it we cannot get at the time.
There are many things on that list we can get, and even if we cannot afford the lathe crafted ironclad armor, I believe that even 1 or more suits of ironclad armor would be highly effective at a crew level, and by a crew level I mean me.
Yes, I will attempt to get you at least the regular version.
In regards to the mercenaries you were asking about, even the smallest group of mercenaries we could purchase, were they available, would be quite difficult to acquire.
Yes.
Upkeep. However, you do need them. Like, we cannot take the armsmen off of the ship. They are not good.
They will suffice for numbers.
They are required on the ship for ship operations. We haven't started the mutant hunt yet, but I expect that the Darkholds have gotten completely out of control.
Okay.
I mean, no one's killed them. No one's killed them for like 9 months, so.
I understood. Unless they're useful at the moment. Which
I mean, Nero's just like a useful mutant. Then he looks over at Garth and says, "No offense." But Garth's not there, and he's like, "Oh, sorry, I thought Garth was there."
You look at Garth's seat.
There's a plaque saying Garth's seat.
I just say, don't tell him I said that.
It's the second best seat in the ship. Sure.
Are we starting to land now? He looks outside.
Yes. Yep. You're landing among quite sort of verdant foothills. And you can see from the shuttle, like sort of a bit up the hills towards the base of the mountains, is definitely some sort of substantial sized village or town. It's all primitive technology, but you can make out probably a few thousand people live there. There's no sort of vehicles. It's all sort of just roads and pack animals. And you can see Kig and a number of his sort of adjutants waiting on animals near where you've been given coordinates to land. So if there's any instructions, the pilot will put down where they were told to, which is probably about a 2-hour walk from the village.
I'm like, this is ridiculous, pilot. Put us closer? We're not going to walk for 2 hours. I mean, I have the golf cart on here, obviously, but now why can't we land closer? This is
where Holt told us to land.
Get Holt on the phone. A 2-hour walk to a village. Administrator Macarius Holt.
Okay, we'll just hover here while I get him on the phone. No problem.
Do that.
All right, you plays around with the box. You get Holt sauce in line. Yes. Have you found Keegan yet?
No. Why are we parking 2 hours out of the village? Why aren't we just flying to the village?
That's what Keegan said. He said that he needed to walk you in. I think he said he would have animals available. Riding animals. That should shorten the time. Yes.
All right. So this isn't your fault yet. And then Nero hangs
Really-
up.
I
He
really
says, all right, pilot, land, and then I'm going to go talk to this Kiergan. I'm very uncomfortable with having the Lord Captain go 2 hours by foot over open terrain. This is suspicious to me.
They're not trees. Okay, so
It's foothills. It's not really a wooded area. It's more like
You're gonna
okay.
you're gonna get
Fields and
ambushed, you're
foothills.
gonna get shot, and you're gonna die.
PET, good for you, good for me.
I mean, I'm gonna walk out on the landing pad looking for Kiergan.
I feel like we
Yep.
should have took a golf cart with us.
I mean, I did.
mechanical
I
legs,
brought the
it's
golf
fine.
cart in the shuttle.
Okay.
Yeah. But this is
Um,
still suspicious. You could still get ambushed and shot in a golf cart. Golf cart doesn't protect you from an ambush.
I'm not that worried about primitive weapons.
Cyrax, up over the golf cart. You just turn around and there's already plate being welded to it.
I would
All right,
never
so
want you to upgrade this golf cart.
You're pretty sure, like golf carts. The golf carts I've ridden in, especially like the airport style golf cart you're thinking
Yes.
about with like
Yeah.
8 seats, is not going to negotiate this terrain.
Okay, yeah, but I'm looking for Kiergan, and I'm just like, Kiergan,
Okay,
where are
nice.
you?
Okay.
So we
right,
need to
he-
get a Tauros.
We need some
Dune Rider?
salamanders. We need some salamanders.
We're
That's
just
what
gonna
we
get a
need.
bunch of what are they called? Power planks. We're gonna ride our skateboards into the village. We're
So-
gonna do an ollie at the end of it, and they'll all be very impressed.
Keegan's there with 4 other sort of tribesmen. They're on some sort of reptilian horse-like
blurks.
creature, along with some extra. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
They're in blurs.
Insert miscellaneous Star Wars animal here, yeah, they've got enough for it. They've got probably another 6 or 7 extra just in case.
Why are we riding in,
I
Kiergan?
do.
It's not safe for your. He like indicates towards the ship for your.
Yeah, I'm just like, explain this to me, why it is not safe. It's ridiculous that we would. You can get onto our shuttle and we will fly you over there.
I'm told that there is a field or a aura around the village that may interfere with your flyer.
Wait here. And I go back in and I talk to the pilot. I'm like, pilot! I assume you're one of the ones that's been here for 9 months doing basically nothing. Is that correct?
I know this is one of your regular pilots. This is one of your.
Right,
sorry,
but
sorry. Yeah, sorry.
He's
not,
like
not
an
one of the
original crew
tribespeople.
member.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Yes.
so I'm just
Yeah.
like, why can we not approach this village? They're saying there's a field around it. Can you confirm this, or is it total bullshit?
He plays with the auger. Let's make a roll for him. See what he can determine.
Oh boy.
No, I'm not picking up anything that would cause. This all looks. I'm just picking up low. I mean, it's not even that much wind at the moment. Not that it really bothers a shuttle like this. We can't fit all those animals in the back, though.
Lord Captain, what do you want to do? This is highly suspicious. I feel like we can. Our pilot has just testified we could just fly in there. I don't know if this is some sort of ritualistic preening that they want, or if this is an ambush.
I think Pierre looks at Kree, kind of judges character a little bit, and just like kind of just shrugs. If it's the way it needs to be, then it's the way it needs to be. And currently, with you here, I'm not too much worried about the situation.
I appreciate that flattery, but if they shoot at you, they'll be shooting at me as well. It's your decision, sir. Let's get on these obvious reptilian.
Pierre's already getting on the reptilian, the set blade, the giant salamander things. Come on, we don't have much all day.
Nero wants to get on the one that has any sort of like a cool stripe on it, or like arrowheads,
I want to get on the red one because it's going to be the fastest.
racing flames. These aren't orcs, okay? It doesn't work like that. I want to get on the purple one because then you won't be able to see me.
Yeah. I take it nobody's taken the wrangling skill, by the way.
No.
Okay, no.
I don't even think I have that
That
even
would be a
available.
I have you guys have. Oh, I was just say I have drive, but
Yeah, I don't
wrangling
even
skill,
have
that's
that
right.
available.
So look, they're going to take it at a pace. You're not going to fall off, but it's going to be, a comical scene of you guys trying to manage these reticent animals that are less than happy about being ridden by people that don't know how to ride animals. But Keegan and his crew help. They pretty much lead them. And
I'm gonna be whispering threats to mine whenever it doesn't obey me. I'm just gonna be like, "You want to be dinner tonight? Keep it up."
You get within sight of this village. It has like a palisade wall, just made out of like wooden stakes in the ground. So it is like a walled village, and you can certainly see it has like guard towers and gate guards as well. The two gate guards you can see are both women wearing some sort of I don't know, ritualistic, just like some sort of ancient armor. You give me, if you no one's got any sort of a scholastic law history of it, do they? Or I think the only person with skills around here is Garth, and he's not here right now.
Say again?
Like scholastic law history, or archaeotech. You can roll archaeotech if you like.
I have Common Law Imperium, Rogue Trader, so Archaeotech.
Machine
take
cult
law archaeotech.
tech,
No.
and then I've got forbidden lore archaeotech.
Just that.
If you guys say
Plus
forbidden law
0.
archaeotech, I'll take it +0. You can do that too. Then if you got an atomic.
Yeah.
It's not new for me at the moment, actually.
I got Bupkis. I'm not gonna reroll that because it's like last week. I'm gonna need all the fate points.
Well, it's not. The thing's not working for me at the moment, so it just needs to be under 30 for me.
Yeah.
It's just real do 100.
Nope. Way far.
Okay.
Nope. I have no idea.
Okay.
Completely
So,
oblivious.
just wearing some
Shit.
sort of primitive armor. You do notice that one of the guards has, because they both basically carry spears, and one of the guards has like a pretty old-looking bolter strapped to the spear. Like you've seen sort of pictures in the past, or like statues of space marines and custodians that actually have like the integrated bolter and spear. This is like somebody has literally taken a spear and like with leather straps tied an old bolter to the base of the spear. And they're not holding it in the way you'd hold a firearm. They're still holding it like a spear. It's just got this bolter strapped to the bottom.
I want to take a look at that bolter. Is that in good condition?
No, it's in shit condition.
I want to take this spear from this person and toss it to Cyrax.
Hold on a second. So, as you're walking up there, one of the two guards does some sort of hand gesture, and at that point, Kiergan speaks back to them in whatever the native tongue is that they use. Like you can, it's derived from Low Gothic. So you can make up it some sort of.
That's good. That's the only language
greeting.
I speak.
Yeah, it's some sort of greeting / formal welcome as such. But if Nero breaks away from the group, so first off, you're on an animal as such. You're riding an animal right up there. They move apprehensively, like they're not. They're sort of cautious as to your approach, and so if you want to try and pull they're not just going to hold the weapon out for me to take it off.
Yeah, I'm going to shout to Kiergan in the process and just tell Kiergan, like, Kiergan, have this person surrender their weapon to me. This has been misused, and you have displeased the weapon.
So he says something to them. She gestures back silently. He says more. There's a bit of to and fro. And then she sort of begrudgingly sort of holds up the spear for you to examine.
I mean, I don't examine it. I take it from her.
Yeah, take it off. That's right, yeah.
All right. And I'm just going to be like, Cyrax.
I lack the capability to repair this weapon in the field.
Is there anything we can do for the machine spirit?
We can provide it with a blessing. That is about the limit of what I can do here.
Give me just give me a tech use at plus. It would be a +30 because you can use your Omni tool as your combi tool as well.
6 degrees of success.
Wow. Okay.
It's literally my best skill. So
yeah, I mean, you can tell first off. So the clip is dry, so it hasn't got any ammunition in it at all.
Yeah, obviously.
So magazine, not clip.
Yeah.
It just hasn't been like this thing has got to be thousands of years old, and it's just not been oiled or maintained. So mostly what it's got on it is rust. With that being said, you can tell that in its original day, it was it would be probably the equivalent of good quality.
Is it like a Phobos bolter? Like
It's
the
something
old, like Heresy era ones.
It does look like it's definitely Terran, as far as you can tell. You're not sure about the exact pattern. I got to look it up actually, but
yeah, the Phobos one is like you would give it like the Mark III Marines. That was like the last one.
It's not marine sized.
Oh, okay, so it's human size. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can give it a nice rub down. You know, like you would field strip like an AR or something.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm going to switch to
give it some sacred unguents, a little bit of oil, and I will take a magazine from my bolt gun that I have, and I will load a fresh magazine into it and rack the bolt, and then hand it back to her.
I mean, I'm the one handing it to you, and I'm going to switch to Rogue Trader Can't and say, I do not know if you feel as I do about taking care of the machine spirits here, but I do know that you seem to be an individual who gathers up such equipment from those who are incapable of using it. Did you want to round up misused equipment in this village? Or perhaps you are of the mindset that we could gain something in negotiations by fixing their equipment for them, perhaps bringing some of your acolytes down here in order to spread the good word of the Omniscience.
I believe we could secure part of their loyalty by repairing all of their equipment in due time. However, my tech adepts are currently assisting the Marines in recovering their equipment from that ship. So I believe it's something we'll have to put on, how is it you say, the back burner for the moment. But I like what you're thinking.
As far as I know, I think.
So you're on team recruit these people to the Omniscience then, just to be clear.
Oh yeah, no, I think we can repair a lot of their. I mean, because I think it's not necessarily that they have tried to mistreat it. It's just
right. They just don't know how to use it. Exactly.
Or they lack.
Yeah, they don't have hops available.
They don't have a machine. Yeah, they don't have hops.
First off, they don't have ammunition.
First off, why can't I be a hops number 9 scented candle? Damn it, that should be a thing. Anyway. But I mean, yeah, but also my tech adepts, other than like the skeleton crew I have on the ship, are all assisting the Marines.
I'm going to tell Kiergan to get off his beast and walk over with me to this young woman who I'm handing her spear back with. But first, I'm going to demonstrate what I assume is an actively working bolter now that he's loaded ammunition into it.
Yeah,
yep.
It's got a.
I'm gonna fire off a round and possibly be like, "Aha! Look at the technology!" Like, be afraid, peons.
So you described the spear, James, but since you're saying it's kind of like the ones like, so it's like the bolter. Is it still have like the trigger on the handle, but it's just like a piece of wire or something?
This was a convention. It's a conventional bolter that has been. It has a full-on pistol grip and that sort of stuff. So, so they both jump when the first shot goes off. And again, when the bolt explodes, when it hits whatever it hits,
it's like C-3PO and the Ewoks.
and one of them sort of gestures, erratically at Kiergan, and then at the other one who gestures back, and then Kiergan sort of says something that seems to placate them.
I'm gonna use Kiergan as a translator here and say, you have displeased the thing that resides within this weapon, and that is why it would not work for you. Your people may be able to supplicate the great Omniscience if you were to offer unto, and I'm going to point at Cyrax, unto him a great bounty. This weapon and many like it could work as this one does, gaining you great power and respect as warriors. And then I'm going to toss the spear back at this person.
Okay. He does some sort of translation. It probably seems a bit shorter than what you'd said.
Sure.
But they sort of nod and give some sort of sign that you, having watched them a bit now, you can probably glean as some sort of assent.
Yeah. Listen, James. We're a rogue trader group that doesn't sell anything. I am out here merchandising. I love the Lord Captain t-shirts. I love the Lord Captain mugs. We need to get these people into the gun store to fix their guns. All right? We've got what they need. All right? We're going to open a franchise down here. Omniscience Limited.
I'm gonna if I'm gonna open up a repair shop, I'm gonna have a sign. There's one of my favorite gun store in Alabama had a sign that said estimations are free, but customer bitching adds $5 to the total price.
So as we walk back, I'm gonna quietly say to Kiergan, like, it would do well for your people to appease Cyrax, who is a great lord among us. And if you wish to maintain the level of power you have, perhaps you should be considering offering the best bounty first for his services. I like you, but we work for the highest bidder.
So this is the technology that you seek, then? This is the bounty of which you speak?
The bounty that we seek is what your people have to offer us. What your people have of value, you will bring to us. We can repair your technology for you so that you might more properly use the spirits contained within them. For a price, for a bounty.
Can we do what we came here to do first before we attempt to arm these primitive people with weapons they don't quite comprehend yet?
Always be selling, Lord Captain. It was something your mother said to me. Said to people in my vicinity once. While not
that's
looking
great
at
to
me.
hear.
He's gonna hop back up on his blurg and keep riding.
Quick question, James. How many of those heavy lift transports do we have? Just the one, or do we have more than one?
No, probably like half your number is that, and half your number is shuttles, like regular shuttles.
I'm gonna make a mental note too. You know how like with salvage operations at sea, you know, take a platform and they'll like custom build, like they'll weld stuff to the deck builder. I'm like, we'll set up a mobile machine shop to like roll up here and just start like open a garage door and start repairing shit later once we're done helping the Space Marines, because they're substantially more important than all of these worthless primitives.
All right, so when you head into the actual the village itself, so I said there's a few thousand people here. It's definitely probably about a 10-to-1 ratio of women to men.
That's
far more women than men. Sorry.
That's unnatural, but please go ahead.
Okay. There's probably a third of the women you see wear some derivative of the armor that the guards wore and or carry weapons. The other 2/3 seem to be in basically just tribal clothing, effectively, like, you know, either farmers or whatever else the case may be. You don't seem to see any men in the warrior garb, although from the interactions you can see, the women all seem to be speaking in sign language. And the men actually speak back in the same language that Kiergan uses, although they can sign as well. They clearly know the signs, but the men do speak. The weapons are all primarily primitive. You do see some indications of other non-primitive weapons that are all sort of like in a similar state of disrepair to that bolter. So you probably see maybe a dozen more bolters and probably 3 or 4 flamers. Of similar patterns that are in, you know, and often they're either on statues that have been made, or they are like strapped to primitive weapons as like some sort of fetish. But you're clearly being led towards like a central hut, and Kiergan will tell you that this is the home of Detrata, the Mother Superior of the blessed.
Is that, I mean, Mother Superior, that sounds pretty ecclesiarchy, right?
It has a religious connotation to it, for sure.
Sure.
Yeah. Sorry, I should say Sister Superior. And you all, like, once you're actually in the village as well, that the sort of overall aura here makes you feel quite uncomfortable. It wouldn't trigger, I think, paranoia more than anything else. It's like you've eaten a bad meal, or you know, the weather's about to turn, you feel in your bones, just a vague sense of just discomfort, and not a pleasant place to be, so to speak. Kiergan sends one of his people in first into the hut, and they return a moment later and nod, and so then he indicates for you to all to go inside. when I say hut, it's like a pavilion. It's big enough to easily fit 20, 30 people in there. Inside, it's a
6
single
feet
room.
apart, of course, right?
Sorry?
6 feet apart, of course, right?
Yeah, it's a single room inside, so you can make out there's like a cot bed sort of thing and like food preparation areas, that sort of stuff, but also like a central area with like cushions on the ground. And there's a woman there that, when I say she's the oldest one here you've seen, she probably only still looks to be in her 40s. You haven't really seen many people older than that, so to speak. And she wears armor similar to the women outside, although there's a degree of sort of ostentation to it that's a little bit more senior, I guess, in recognition. And she stands up and makes like, so it's just like a bowed greeting as such, and it indicates out for the cushions around the circle, and when she sits down again. And Keegan sits down. This is the Sister Superior Detrata. He turns to her and he basically introduces you each by name, and it sort of ends off with Pierre as, obviously implying a degree of seniority. She makes some hand motions back, and he says, "She bids you welcome. I believe you had questions. She is prepared to answer them."
I've mainly come here to ask about what I've seen as groups of people come here almost ritually go to the ship that has been crashed for millennia.
All right. He says to me, it's actually quite short, and then her response is quite clipped as well. Like it's very there's not a lot of conversation going back and forth. So you get the impression that pretty much he knows the answer to this and was just seeking her permission to provide it, basically. And he turns back to you. Among people, there is a law that the blessed do not have children with one another. That any time one of the blessed here seeks to a child, that they go to the other tribes and find a mate there, and that if the child is not among the blessed, they be raised among the tribes, and if they are blessed, that they come to one of the enclaves. On the times that a child is born of two blessed, then it has been ordained in our oral histories that when that child is of age, they must go to the great ship and travel to the afterlife to protect and serve the angels.
And was this afterlife?
Apparently, the doorway is a temple beneath the great ship, and the doorway will open when the blessed approach.
Is everyone in this tribe blessed, so to speak?
The whole tribe is blessed. But do you mean is any here a child of two that must take this ritual to go into the underworld, into the afterlife? Is that what you mean?
Sure.
Yes, there. He says something to her, and she responds back, and he says there is a boy who is not yet of age who will have to make that journey when he reaches maturity.
How far is he from that?
He checks and 4 summers.
I see. Switching to, I want to call it Thieves' Camp, but let's call it Rogue Traders' Camp. Nero's going to say, it sounds like they sacrifice blanks in service to the lost or fallen Dark Angels.
I think it's
So just to be clear, they're all blanks. What they're saying is because a child of 2 blanks is always a blank.
Yes.
And so they're sending
right, because it's recessive, but they're sending, like, let's call them super blanks. Blanks who are the child of a blank are sacrificed.
Is that why why is it that there's so many women as compared to the men in this tribe?
There are the children of our people. Those that are blessed. It affects more of the women than of the men.
Interesting. If at some point someone who isn't necessarily time to make that pilgrimage, is there other people besides this young boy who hasn't gone yet that could escort us to this temple below the ship?
Any of us? Sorry, he said any of the blessed may escort you, and the door opens for the blessed, but only those children of two blessed may enter the underworld, as it is written, or as it is recorded.
Do they not come back out?
No, those that go to serve the angels serve for eternity.
Right. We already knew this part.
Okay. I was just reconfirming, essentially.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just gonna turn and Rogue Traders can't say, well, this is all heresy. Obviously, they've been misled by the. You're laughing at that? I mean, it is heresy. He says they've been misled by the sons of the great enemy. Everything that they are doing is in service to these chaos worshippers.
I don't think it's to them necessarily. They're doing it to our guests that'll be arriving in a few months.
I mean, Nero is just like, it's still heresy. What they have been taught is not what the Emperor's light is.
It is not uncommon to find this among worlds that have had restrained contact with the Imperium for some time.
Yes, but my point is that Macarius Holt has allowed this to continue far past when it should.
He probably has not come out here.
This is a problem in need of a solution. And I was just thinking that Miriam didn't have enough to do.
We will see about getting the proper education that these people need as far as the guiding light.
I mean, Nero turns to Cyrax and says, unless your people would like first crack at them, they could, of course, all become omniscience followers. I mean, I have no idea how that works, but, you know. You're here first if you would like to claim their souls.
I do not require their souls, I just require their service.
Well, I need them to be not mechanical beings.
Sad tech priest noises.
It's like I don't need them to be servitors. I need them to be very fleshy and not servitors.
Lucky for them, all of my adepts have a lot to do. Let your sister Miriam take a crack at them.
I've got way too much to do at the moment between repairing the ship, salvaging shit for the Space Marines. Yeah, no, I don't have enough dudes to spread out thin as is. So.
And I again don't need these guys to be servitors. Need them to be fleshy meat bags.
Even if we were to try and convert them to, the priesthood or whatever, I mean, it's still just that's a lot of work, and we can't spare anybody. So.
Yeah.
Very well. I've made my opinion here known. This is heresy, and it must be put to an end.
And it will be.
I'm going to turn and smile at everybody like I'm not talking about murdering all of you.
Are you spiking the camera right now?
I don't want them to think that I'm thinking that I'm going to kill all of them, but I am considering killing all of them.
I think they're too valuable just to wipe out.
And it's been confirmed that blanks make blanks, so we need those blanks to make blanks.
Blank on this planet, the blanks make blanks.
It's also it's less that they're like, unless they're doing it intentionally, they might just not know any better.
I mean,
it's like that's a little different than.
Look, we almost certainly know in character that the thing that is on this planet, this laboratory, is what causes the blanks to be made blanks. So when they come
we can surmise.
To take this thing away, it might not work anymore. But of course, since it's a recessive gene, it's not like they can't just not continue to make blanks. It'll just be less probable.
Yeah.
But
Blanks
again,
on
they're
blanks on blanks on blanks, guys. Like, listen, I'm all about acquirement of profit. I feel like I'm the only one here who's read the rules of acquisition. I know Sid's here with me, but I've never seen him acquiring.
I
Again,
offer advice and
it's
I
true.
communicate.
We're not going to let them take the thing that is causing this thing that's going to make us money.
Sure. What else do we need to know here, Lord Captain? I mean, I think we should take this boy with us so that when we need to go down to the afterlife, we can open the door.
That sounds fine by me. I think you'll just speak to Krieg and Low Gothic. It's like, can you ask him if we could take this boy with us? He'll be taken care of.
He speaks to them, and they come back, and he says, "Yes, they understand that you are also of the heavens, and they will do as you direct."
Excellent. We'll be sure to have arrangements for people to help guide these into the better light.
Yeah, I'm going to turn to Kiergan and say, remember, if you wish your technology to work, your people should prepare bounties in exchange for the great Lord Captain and great Magos Cyrax Lex's perusal. By the next time we return, if you wish your technology to be refurbished and the spirits to be placated, you would do well to offer a equivalent exchange.
He once again nods. Is there anything else for the Sister Superior?
We will be sending someone to speak with the Sister Superior. Your people have, over the years, God, I don't want to be like you're all been listening to the heretics. Over the years, you have deviated from the true word of the heavens, and we will be sending someone to help right your course.
Yes, I've said that.
This is the way.
Yeah,
This is the way.
Look, I just want to hammer it in with this guy. Okay.
All right.
I
So
get
he says
back on
something
my
to-
lizard.
He says something to her, and she stands up and bows and sort of shows you out with a wave of her arm.
It's been a great honor being here. Thank you.
Nero gets on his blurg and says, I have spoken.
Meanwhile, on board the Hand of Calixis, Garth, you're doing what Garth does when you get a cross-ship vox from the first officer, which you may recall was named Talmans Parrington.
I may recall, but I don't actually.
Okay, well, now you do.
Talmond.
Talmans, so Talmanes, Parrington, or Mr. Parrington if you prefer. As I said, this was I'm inspired by almost by Norrington from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Right, gotcha.
Yeah.
See, this is why I bought the talent Total Recall, is because I can just be like, yes, I do remember this. James, what do I remember?
Choir Master, I hope I haven't disturbed you.
Of course not. What can I help you with?
Would you be able to meet me in my quarters? There's something I need to discuss with you discreetly.
Of course. Don't know this man, so I will make sure that my sword is firmly attached at my hip.
Okay.
Smart
Yeah,
man.
pistol grip pump in your hands at all time. Yeah.
Okay. So you head to his quarters, and inside there's like a like those little sort of card tables, those little square card tables you can easily set up. That's been set up, and there is like a couple of seats around, and there's cards and chips on the table. probably some like a bottle of Amasec and some glasses too. And there's another man there who you have seen around the ship. You don't really know who he is. Like he's been in the upper deck, so you assume he's some sort of senior officer, but he's never been introduced to you before. He's about 6 foot tall, sort of messy brown hair, and like a really sort of thick, bushy moustache. Quite strong. Like he's clearly well built and clearly works out.
I am
and
probing.
okay. And he's dressed in just like fatigues pretty much, that more so, but there's like dirt around the collar and the hems as well, like, so he obviously goes places where where there's mess to be encountered. My probe, give me a willpower roll, please. +5, I believe you're doing it discreetly.
Oh, I didn't do the +5, but it was still 1 degree of success.
Okay,
so I don't think the 5 would have pushed it up to 2.
No, okay, he completely fails. Okay.
Actually,
Yeah, so
he's
okay. His surface thought.
No, sorry,
that's fine. He failed he got 6 degrees of failure, 5 degrees of failure.
God.
So, yeah. So his surface thought is that he's very concerned because he's about to explain to you that they found a murder victim on board the ship.
And what's his name?
His name is Soren. He is the twist catcher aboard.
What is a twist catcher?
He controls the mutant population.
Yeah, twist is a derogatory term for mutant in the Imperium.
Yeah, so they basically serve two purposes. One is to get rid of anything on board the ship that shouldn't be there, like organisms that have somehow gotten on board the ship, mutants living in the black holes, for example. Keep the mutant population under control, and in emergencies to go and kidnap mutants and press them into service so that the ship can still operate even when the non-mutant crew has been largely killed.
Okay.
Yeah. You're pretty sure he's one of the new additions to the crew. He wasn't one of the original crew members, the original twist catcher.
Did you kill a Patreon member before he ever got on screen?
No.
That's a bold move, James.
See who's gonna die.
God,
today.
that would have been incredible.
Well, that's what you did with BattleTech. The amount of NPCs that died in that sort of initial.
All of the aerospace guys. Yeah,
that's it.
I'll just cock my head a little and say, I may not be able to see Soren, but I can sense but I can feel your discomfiture here. What is happening?
We're sorry to trouble you. You seem the best person to potentially bring this to, given that the captain and the others are all on the planet right now. One of my staff has found a body on board the ship. Now, that's not too uncommon a thing, but what we see points to the person having been murdered. I only wanted to bring the senior staff into this. It can be bad for morale to have a murderer on board a ship, so we need to keep this suppressed.
Has this body been brought to the medical ward? Cause of death undetermined?
Right now, it's the person that found it came straight to me. I was here with the first officer, and we've contacted you as the next senior person on board. So the body's, as far as I know, still where they found it.
Very well. I believe we have a Chief Bows on board, yes?
Yes. Shall I summon her?
I believe that would be appropriate. Let us go inspect this body.
Okay. So, Talman says, I'll ask her to meet us at the right component before we get. So rather than bringing her here, we can head straight there.
Very good.
So he goes to the basically the Vox and says, Sargon, please report to this. Is your first officer. Please report to the Auger systems level deck. So you head up to effectively. So the Auger is like the ship's sensors, and there is a component of a deck which is like the mechanics that run the Auger. So all the sort of the mechanisms that rotate the dishes, etc. All the systems that connect. So these are generally speaking unmanned systems. So the auger is controlled from the bridge by the Master of Etherics, but there will be tech adepts, for example, that services equipment, but people don't need to be in this component running it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a difficult spot to get to too. Like you got to sort of climb through some pretty tight components. But Sargon arrives as well, and Sargon's like bigger than everybody else here. But both Sargon and Soren are both physically quite large, so they struggle a bit to get through the area. But they do, and there's like a younger, when I say younger, like maybe a 15-year-old boy in sort of similar rating fatigues that's waiting for you there. You probably claim this is the person that found the body. The body is definitely a tech priest, just based upon their augmentation, their red robes. There's a toolkit sitting on the scattered on the ground nearby. They've clearly been shot in the chest 3 times.
Well, clearly no accident then.
Suicide by 3 rounds to the back of the head. It's crazy that it happens.
Has anyone seen Nero lately?
Nero sneezes on the back of the blurg.
Is the body still intact? If it is, the answer is no.
Yeah.
That's right. It's not been shot 10 times in the chest.
It's not been exploded into pulp.
So give me an awareness roll. You can add, make it a +10 awareness.
Oh, I'm going to reroll that.
Okay.
God damn it.
So other than the body, you can't see any obvious physical evidence. This awareness roll is more sort of like, what you just glean from just looking around. You'll have, obviously, as a crime scene, if you spend more time looking around it, then this is just like, what do you spot passively?
So he was shot 3 times. Any idea on what style of weapon it was?
Small caliber. So you're not talking bolter. You're talking more like stub gun of some sort.
Stub pistol. Yeah.
Okay. And we're up in the near the auger array. Does it appear that he was working on any sort of equipment?
So it does appear that there's no panels that are open right now. He's the sort of person that would have been sent here to work on this sort of equipment. But it looks like he may have been it doesn't look like he was working when he was shot. Although his toolbox is scattered across the ground, there's no everything just seems to have come out as the toolbox has fallen. There's no tools out, panels open, work being clearly done.
Okay. Well, lady and gentlemen, I nod towards her. The 2 things that I mislike here. The first thing is that this man was killed nearby a sensitive piece of equipment that is crucial for the ship's operation. And the second, that this happened so shortly after we had a visit by an inquisitor. I'm wondering if there may have been an attempt of sabotage or accidental discovery of a saboteur. And this concerns me.
I just want to quickly step in and remind everybody that I had a whole squad of armsmen stand outside that shuttle with orders to shoot anybody that got on or off it.
I know.
All right. All right. Check it back to Garth then. Go.
So Sargon, so this is the bosun quips in. We're too high up in the ship for many of the lower decks crew. If there was anyone from the lower deck up here, they would have been noticed. I might ask around up here, see if anybody saw a lower deckman. Otherwise, it would be someone who's actually accepted on the upper decks. Or at least dressed as someone that was.
Has it? See, we'll also need to pull the maintenance reports, find out what exactly this man was doing here and what he was sent to repair.
The agency is on the planet right now, I believe, but I can speak to one of the other adjuncts, see if I can work out who sent him here when he was sent here. You don't have a Medicaid skill, do you, Sid?
Any... No.
No, okay. All right. So I guess we don't have any...
I suppose we'll need to get this man down to the medical bay, run a full autopsy, see if we can identify the We'll need some form of forensic information to determine what gun fired these rounds.
So Sargon sort of like, may I touch the body?
I have no experience with conducting a murder investigation. If you do, then by all means.
She sort of like rolls the body because it's fallen on its back. She rolls the body slightly to one side and says, "Okay, so there's no exit wounds here, so the bullets are probably still inside the body."
Excellent. And I'm going to reach out and try and find any nearby mines.
Give me a Psyniscience check at +10.
6 degrees of success.
Okay, so there are no mines near right now, but you pick up an aura of something psychic or something warp related happened here recently. Either a power was used, or a perils occurred, or something along those lines. Something psychically has happened here recently. It's the stink of the warp hangs on the equipment here. Whatever it was has come and gone, but it's left its mark.
Wow, it's really lucky that Garth is the one investigating this.
It appears that whoever was nearby has psychic abilities. You can feel that there were powers used here recently. I don't know what they were, though.
Sargon clips in then. Well, that pretty much limits our suspect pool down to a couple of dozen.
Theoretically, unless it's someone that we don't know is aboard. But let's start off with the factors that we do know as opposed to the factors that we don't. Everyone on board, well, with psychic abilities, we will have to account for their whereabouts, and that includes me. So let's get to work. Could I tell where it came from specifically?
So your impression is that it was literally happening in the immediate vicinity. So give me a logic roll at +10.
Oh God. Not one of my finest skills. Hey,
still made it though.
A success.
So one possible thing might be that somebody was using a psychic power right here. The tech priest stumbled upon them, and the person shot the tech priest in response and then fled.
Interesting. So he most likely stumbled upon them while they were still attempting to do what they were doing, and they killed him for it.
Yeah. Now, you do know, because effectively when you guys do your actual astropathic communication, it's boosted by the organs. So the machinery in the organs has like psychoatric coils in it that can be used to boost telepathy powers.
So someone was likely attempting to do something very, very bad. All right, let's get this body down to the medical bay, and let's go round up our merry little band of psychos and see what we can ferret out.
All right. Parrington also says, look, I'm going to contact the captain on the service, let him know what's happened.
Please do.
Okay. So you guys go about moving the body. Presumably when you guys are leaving the planet's surface below, you get the message from the first officer that there's been a murder on board the Hand, and that Garth's got it under control.
Why do we care about one murder? Was this person important?
It was a tech priest.
Is it a tech priest or is it just an adept?
I would also want
yeah.
to make certain that the first officer impresses upon them that psychic powers were involved.
Oh, yes. Okay. So psychic powers are involved. And a member of the Cult Mechanicus anyway. It may not have been a full tech priest, but a member of the Cult Mechanicus staff on board the ship.
Suddenly this is more worth our time. Yeah. Nero went from murder among 30,000 people, not a big deal, to red alert.
So what time is it? Okay, so presumably, let's flash forward a bit to everybody gathered in the morgue You're all back on board the ship now. This body is on the table in front of you, probably as is the senior staff that got Garth involved, as is our chief chirurgeon, the esteemed Marius Cordasco, the John Lithgow-looking guy that berated Cyrax before. So this is the chief chirurgeon. Captain, look, I can't do much with this because not a lot of flesh there to go through, but what I did find indicates that he was shot 3 times at close range, and the second bullet punctured the fleshy part of his heart, and he would have been dead before he hit the ground. Otherwise, other than some minor arthritis, I can't find any other serious concerns in this guy's health profile.
I'm going to turn to Miriam and say, does your assessment match this?
I wasn't involved in the autopsy directly, but from what I can see from the body in front of us, I can certainly see the three injuries. It's consistent with where that would penetrate the heart, assuming his heart wasn't moved.
It's not some sort of brain memory for a camera of the eyes, is there? I think Pierre looks at Cyrax, see how absurd that'd be.
This guy has got a cybernetic eye, so
yeah. So he might have some type of data core that's retrievable.
I would have to look at the body and see if he has a removable data core. Without being me to examine it myself, I cannot say for certain, but it is possible.
By all means, examine it yourself. And I guess Garth, you can sniff, see if he has any sort of the warp smell. I'm not sure how you.
No, so no power was used on this guy. You would have told that with the psychic on his success before.
No, there were psychic abilities that were used within the immediate vicinity of where the body was found. The concern is how close or within the auger array that this took place. Whoever was doing it was likely attempting to use the auger array to amplify their powers.
Do we have any reason not to believe that this was the work of mutants?
So this is Soren will jump in here. The area that the body was found in we wouldn't normally find mutants there. I mean, I did have one of my staff looking through just to make sure there was no sign of mutant passage there, but it's an active deck.
You and I will speak about this more later. But if we do not suspect that some mutant psyker executed him, then this is a concern. Do we know all of the psychers on board? Is everyone registered and sanctioned?
All the ones that are registered and sanctioned we know of, definitely. There are basically the members of the Astropathic Choir. That's it.
I mean, I would assume that the members of the Astropathic Choir would be capable of sensing unregistered psychics around them. Is this true, Garth? I mean, I don't know much about this.
Generally, yes.
And we can assume further, Lord Valance, that you did not personally execute this man.
No, I did not. But as I am a psyker, as all the others, along with all the others, I'm not going to discount myself as potential candidate until I'm cleared by others.
Technically speaking, there's only a half a dozen psychers on board who actually have the ability to leave the choir. The remaining members of the choir are all pretty much lobotomized and strapped in.
So, I mean, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at 6 people then.
Yeah.
As a potential suspect pool.
Or an unknown entity. But first, I feel it would be more beneficial to interrogate and verify if any of those psychers did it. That way we can move from the known to the unknown quantities.
I'm going to turn to Sargon and say, it is time to do a crew check. With all of the new additions on board, it's time to make sure everyone is who they say they are. You will assemble the lower decks and begin this process immediately. Anyone that is not who they say they are, or is not working at their correct duty station, is to be arrested and taken to the brig immediately, preferably mostly alive. It's okay if they're slightly dead.
Slightly dead. They don't need their legs to talk.
She nods and leaves to go organise that. Anything else you want to do here with the body?
Did you want to turn this into a servitor or something?
They still need to be alive in order to do that.
Well, that's unfortunate. Do you want to recycle it?
I'm going to try and see if they have a data core for this eyeball. I'll extract the eye regardless, because that's reusable. But
yeah, Nero's completely checked out at this point. He's not into harvesting bodies. He's just into making them.
There's like 70 pounds of corpse starch here. Okay.
You know how many Emperor's Mercy bars we could make from this one body?
This is why I keep insisting that we only serve partridge on the upper decks.
Yeah. If I could see if he has a data core that I could retrieve.
Yep. So that'll take a bit of time, but you can pull it out with the doctor's help too. Like you don't.
Well, I'm also trained in Medicaid as well. So.
Okay. Cool.
For this very reason.
Yep. So as you go to leave, Miriam turns to you, Nero and Pierre. How did you go on the planet's surface with the people there?
Oh, you and I will be speaking further. In fact, as long as you're all here, I'll need to speak with Miriam, Riani, Sauron, and the Chief Chirurgeon.
Well, Riani's not here, but we can summon her down.
We have some people to educate.
I like to imagine I'm holding this partially gore-covered cybernetic eye and my little mechadendrite, burn it. Or whatever they do with corpses here.
Yeah, so I'm just going to say to Miriam, we need you on a shuttle down on the planet's surface. We will arrange for transportation for you to the village. There are millions upon millions of near hereticals in requiring of the Emperor's guidance away from, I don't know what we would call it, the dark light of the great enemy. I don't know much about chaos heretics. I just shoot them in the face. Their beliefs have been misguided, and they require an ecclesiastical touch.
I'll go and get a pick.
I would prefer you left him here if possible.
Yes, he's going to have a new training buddy soon.
Yes, that is part of the reason I need to speak with Sargon again later, but how did you know about that? Oh, you're talking about the young man that we stole from the village.
Well, we didn't steal, we
adopted. Whatever. I will absolutely place him on Oswald's training regimen. Do you truly need Peck with you, Miriam, or can you do without him for some time?
Oh, he's an assistant, so
very well.
If someone else can assist, I don't mind.
No, go ahead. I will torture this other young man until he is molded into metal loyal to the Emperor.
All right, she leaves as well then.
Well, if something happens and he loses an eye.
Twitch catcher's name is Sauron, right?
Sauron. S-O-R-E-N.
Okay,
yep.
I'm just going to be we need to prepare for a murder party.
So when you say
I will be sending you volunteers shortly. And when I say that, I pick up my notepad, and the top thing that's left is meet with Thale.
You could definitely see Sauron was
murder party.
yes, Sauron was definitely passing that in his head. It's are we having a party because it was a murder? Is this a party to murder people? Is it? But okay,
Sorry,
he seems to...
so many questions.
I want to get you back on the correct track. We need to clear out the mutants. They've had 9 months to grow, and I'm going to bet that our previous occupants did not, in fact, slaughter them relentlessly.
Yes, this is one of the reasons I had some of my staff running around various parts of the ship to try and find exactly where they are.
Yes, we're going to provide a troop surge temporarily for you. So be prepared to receive that. You can leave.
All right. He leaves.
I turn to the Chief Chirurgeon and say, we haven't had a chance to talk yet. What was your name?
Cordasco, Dr. Cordasco.
I believe you have a package with my name on it.
Yes, it's he sort of points to like but back into the main hall. There's like a box sitting there somewhere that's postmarked from Footfall.
Yeah, Nero just starts taking off his armor and says, then let's begin.
It's an Amazon box.
Agent Seer, may I have your assistance?
Certainly.
Sorry, Agent Seer Prime.
Well, he's also, he's high enough rank that I'm not gonna like flip out on him for. He's useful, so I'll cut him a little slack. But yeah, no, I will assist.
Okay, he's definitely one of those people that's old enough to be a bit beyond rank,
Well, he's like, he's probably one of those guys that he's like, he's old enough. You can just see the experience on his face. He's like, this guy, he's probably going to save your life at some point. So just, let him slip, get away with some stuff. Because it's like, he might save my life one day. So I'm not going to fucking shit on the guy. I'm smart enough. I know what's up.
All right. Well, this is probably a good chance to have a quick break, I think, then.
Sure.
While Nero goes in for surgery.
Yeah, I want to say that the very last thing we see is he's taking his shirt off. There's a bunch of tattoos there, but we don't get a very clear view except for the top one, which is a White Shield's emblem that has been tattooed at the top of his back near the neck.
He's got the John Wick tattoos all.
I haven't seen John Wick, so I can't say that, but I'm looking forward to seeing it one day soon. We'll be back for the second half. I still want to have that lunch with Riani at some point. I'm really just kicking all of my goals out left and right here. Lunch with Riani, threat and fail, and I'll be 100% good for this episode. When we return, I guess Chief Investigator Garth Valance is going to do some time crime, some side crime. Can we make that rhyme somehow?
Yes, I was planning on having Nero present. If any of them resist,
with his new
destroy them.
shoulder-mounted gun, absolutely.
I'm just imagining Garth.
Wipe them out, all of them. Do it.
He wouldn't even need to finish saying "wipe them out."
He's just gone.
Daka daka.
Right.